this little one here called Secret Number from Yusuke Sato, who's a designer, a Japanese designer who also did Couture from All Play, who's their sponsor. We both really liked that one.
I really like Couture.
I was excited to see kind of just an obscure, strange little package here. So what's going on in the game of Secret Number? Well, there are multiple cards out there. There are 2 zeros, 2 ones, 2 threes, 2 twos. Depending on player count, everyone is dealt 2 cards in secret. There are 2 cards face down in the middle of the table in secret. Everyone is then going to reveal a little bit of information about the cards they have in their hand by either adding or subtracting or dividing or multiplying them. Everyone looks around at the little bit of information given and is going to maybe guess what those face-down cards are those numbers are in the middle of the table. After the first round is done, players will then reveal a little bit more information about the cards. Perhaps reveal what arithmetic function they used, or just straight up reveal one of their cards. Everyone looks around, does some deduction again, can wager on what cards they think are the leftover face-down ones on the table. And in the third round of time, you reveal that last bit of information you didn't reveal before, and then everyone's throwing down the cards as fast as they can. You reveal the cards, and you score points depending if you were the first to guess numbers correctly and how early in the round sequence you guessed them. If that sounds like a strange game, that's because this one is an oddball game for sure.
It's very odd. Yeah. Very odd, yeah.
So the question is, sometimes oddball games are really fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just don't quite work. Where do you sit on this one, Mike?
Didn't work. Did not work for me. There's a couple of things. One is personal, and one is, I think, a design flaw, in my opinion. The personal aspect of it is that when I enjoy deduction games, they almost never involve numbers.
Okay.
Whether it's how my brain works or not, it probably is. Those games tend to feel more like work to me than an enjoyable experience. And this was definitely one where that was the case, where I felt frustrated more often than I felt like I was having fun. So that's a personal thing that may not apply to 90% of the population, but it applies to me, and so I'm mentioning it in case you're somebody that also has struggled with things like Turing Machine or games that are deduction based around solely numbers.
What about if you add a real-time aspect where you're trying to race slamming cards down?
No.
Does that make it better?
That does not make it better. It does not make it better a little bit. And then the design flaw, I think that really drops it down for me, is that this really could be a game that somebody wins because they guess. Straight up. They guess. They happen to guess right blind. There's not that wide of a range of numbers to choose from. They win the game because they put down an 8 at the beginning of the, they were the first one to put down an 8. It could happen, right? And it may not even, it could be accidental. They may think that they're doing deduction and they weren't even on the right track at all. But they're like, 8, just because they had something wrong, but it turned out to be right. That doesn't feel satisfying to the person who wins, and it certainly doesn't feel satisfying to the other people if that person mentions it, which they're going to do. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even understand how this was working, but I put an 8 down. Right?
Oh, man.
That's a problem. It didn't work for me.
I had a lot more fun with this game than you did, but it is flawed. Mm-hmm. There are certainly issues with it. One is, I don't consider it as big of an issue that you could just guess, because there is a small penalty to guessing incorrectly.
That's true.
And if you guess incorrectly, the next player who put down a card, maybe right behind you, they thought about it for a second. They're like, well, it's still a guess, but an educated guess. I'm going to throw this card down. They still get the first correct guess bonus. However, this game doesn't scale very well. At 3 players, you use numbers 0s, 1s, 2s, and 3s. And so the pool of available things of, I'm adding a 3 and a 2, it's a 5. Right. As soon as you reveal that, my sum is 5, people go, you have a 2 and a 3.
Yeah.
It's so, okay, well, that's easy. So I have these numbers. This person probably has I'm going to throw this card down.
Right.
When you're playing this with 5 players, all of a sudden that potential pool of information you can give becomes gigantic.
Right.
I reveal that I have a 4. Okay, well, that could be 2 plus 2. That could be 1 plus 3. That could be 2 times 2. And that could be 6 minus 2 or 5 minus 1.
Right.
All of a sudden, there's 2 much room.
Yeah.
Whereas with 3 players, there's like so little room that it becomes kind of that speed deduction game. In a 5-player game, it's mostly a guessing game.
Right.
I really wish I liked this because it's clever and it's so different compared to...
It's unique. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's just not quite refined
Yeah.
for what I think that it's going for. And I tried this at multiple occasions with multiple player counts. Everyone kept making fun of me, like, Chris, let secret number go.
Right. Yeah, you definitely you gave it every opportunity possible, for sure.
So, score-wise, where would you come in?
This is a 4 for me. It just, I don't think it's just me, right? I mean, sometimes I'll say a game is not good, and I'm like, well, but this is probably just me. No, I do think that the game fundamentally has some flaws. It probably is at a 4 because it also is one that just doesn't work for my brain well. Take that out of the equation, it still would not be something I would recommend.
I enjoy this one. I've debated all the way between a 5 and a 6, right? Because of the amount of fun that I've had with it, it could go up to a 6. But ultimately, score-wise, I'm going to give it a 5 because I don't think it's refined enough to even give it that high of a score. If you want something that feels completely experimental and weird and different, this is one you could try, but I'm not really recommending it. There you go. Secret number.